Welcome to Agents of Nothing, an episode-by-episode recap and analysis from the perspectives of a veteran and a new recruit. And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 9, Repairs.
So, Mariah, how was your week?
It was good. I've been just so low energy this week.
Yeah.
But on Friday, I did get to go see Multiverse of Madness, and it was really good.
What is that?
Really good. What is that?
I don't...
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
It's the newest movie in the MCU.
Oh, I've seen literally nothing about it.
Not even from me?
No!
It's like WandaVision Season 2, except not though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. Well,
Yeah,
good.
well...
I'm glad it was good.
Yeah, I booked my tickets a week in advance, and I had decided to go and see a 10:30 a.m. viewing, and I was like, I'm gonna take myself on a little breakfast date. And
Aww.
now the dine-in theaters, you can order your food online.
Yeah.
There used to be a little waiter that would come up to your seat and take your order.
Right.
But then they were like, this is actually really stupid. We have the internet.
Yeah, that was really short-lived.
We don't need to interrupt these people's viewing experience. So I ordered myself some churros and some coffee, and they didn't have any options for sugar or flavored syrup or milk or anything like that. So I just got a side of ice cream with my churros, and I brought a cup from home, and I dumped the ice cream and the coffee into my cup.
Stop it.
It didn't work, but it was an attempt.
It was an attempt.
It didn't do anything, but I tried.
Oh my god.
So, Caroline, how was your week?
Mine was good. Just normal work stuff, office drama, all that. And yeah, I didn't do anything.
You brought your dog to the dog park.
I did. I brought my dog to the dog park a lot.
And he rolled around in mud.
He did. Yeah, I had to.
I was on the phone with you for that.
It was fun. He loves that dog park. I try to bring him there a lot. He's got at least one little friend that I recognize, and he goes and plays with him every time. It's so cute.
That's adorable.
Well, shall we get into this episode?
We shall. So this episode was written by the creators and showrunners, Marissa Tancharoen and Jed Whedon, and it was directed by Billy Gearhart.
Cool. So we only meet a couple of new characters in this episode. We meet Hannah Hutchins, a witch, and Tobias Ford, a little bitch. So we open in a gas station in Batesville, Utah. A woman walks in and grabs a few items while the cashier leers at her, and I am immediately afraid for her.
I only just caught that it was in Utah. That actually makes the context make a lot more sense. Continue. Okay.
Anyway, so she asks him, if there's a problem, and he just says, Jack Benson was a friend of mine. Okay. She tries to offer her condolences and says that Jack was her friend, too. And the clerk cuts her off and is it says that Jack's wife blames her for Jack's death because she was his boss or something. And the woman says that she's gonna just find somewhere else to shop, and the man quickly blocks her path. He threatens her, and then all of a sudden, canned food starts just pelting him by itself. He's like, are you doing this? And she says no. And then the whole shelf just falls over onto him, is pushed into him, and she looks terrified but kind of guilty. He runs outside with his little flip phone out. It's so cute. And then he sees that the gas pumps are all off their hooks and they're spilling gas all over the concrete. So he just keeps running, and the gas is like flowing towards the building where they're already burning newspapers conveniently just outside the door. And then the explosion that we've been waiting for since episode 2.
Finally.
Well, she's just like inside, huddled behind a counter, crying, and she goes, "Not again." It's so dramatic.
This is like a really good setup for the episode.
It is.
One of the setups that actually, comes to fruition. It goes somewhere. It's not just we're pulling a flash drive out of somebody's nose and now we're going to the hub. So the gas station that's seen at the beginning is a Roxxon station. Roxxon is a fictional energy company in like the Marvel universe, Marvel Comics. Obviously, it is supposed to, evoke Exxon and things like that. Yeah. And a Roxxon particle accelerator is the cause of this episode's issues.
Oh, okay.
So, that's all connected. The company is depicted as having been run by various executives who are typically ready and eager to use any underhanded and illegal option to secure profits, up to and including violent crimes.
Oh.
So just energy companies then.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think the most recent if not inclusion of Roxxon, then sort of an homage to Roxxon in the MCU was in Loki, the TV show. In that show, they go to Haven Hills, Alabama in the year 2050. It's a fictional town owned entirely by the Roxxon Energy Corporation. America, you're telling me in 2050 we still haven't figured out that factory towns are a bad idea?
Right, and we're still being run by
corporations.
Oil companies. God damn it!
Yeah, so it's a fictional town owned entirely by Roxxon, where there's a horrible hurricane taking place. Gee, I wonder why. And people are using the store, a Walmart-esque big box store, as a shelter.
Okay. I need to watch that show, I guess.
Yeah, it is really good. I really do like Loki. Roxxon also played a big part in the Iron Man trilogy, all 3 of those movies. Okay. Iron Man 3 is where it's most heavily featured. But yeah, Roxxon is like a pretty cool, just like stand-in for bad corporation. It makes a good villain. And honestly, I hope that they use it more because it would be realistic.
Yeah. Anyway, so then we cut to May. She's like slowly walking across the floor with like clothes everywhere while she's getting dressed, and the shower is running in the background. She gets an alert on her phone about a very vague mission, and so she tells Ward as he comes out of the bathroom with a towel around his waist, and I hate this. Ward is like, "Oh, we should follow our usual plan to not show up together." Like, how many times does this happen? I hate it. I hate it so much. But May is already out the door before he can even finish talking. So perfect. My
personal headcanon is that May just like does not care. He might as well be a dildo. She's like, I didn't mean to make conversation. I was just informing you that we have a mission. I'm leaving now. I'm gone, actually. Right. Goodbye.
I was just telling you. I didn't want you to answer.
We don't have to discuss the plan. We're both spies. Like,
we already know that.
We're both spies, and also I'm 20 years older than you, so right. I think I know what the fuck I'm doing. You think this is May's first rodeo? Jesus, not even.
Anyway. Okay, on the plane, Coulson is briefing Skye on their new mission target, a telekinetic named Hannah Hutchins. Skye didn't think they existed, and Coulson says that they've never actually verified one before, which is why they have to go to Batesville to conduct an index asset evaluation and intake process. Skye says this mission needs a better name, and I agree. Coulson says Skye really needs to pay attention on this one. And Skye's like, it's not the first time that I've met someone with newfound powers. I found Mike Peterson before S.H.I.E.L.D. did. And Coulson's like, yeah, and how did that go?
Valid.
Yep. So Skye asks a few more questions about what to expect from this mission, and Coulson says that this one may be a particularly sensitive case because her whole town blames her for a particle accelerator explosion that killed 4 technicians on her watch. Skye feels for the families of the dead, but also for Hannah, who lost her friends and her coworkers, on top of gaining powers that she didn't even know that she had, much less can control. So then Fitzsimmons and Coulson are like doing some sciencey stuff, and I'm not going to pretend that I understood enough to even take notes on it, but whatever Coulson said impressed everyone, so that's something, I guess.
I read.
Coulson tells Skye that she is going to wait in the car while he, Ward, and May make initial contact with Hannah. And I'm confused now because literally 30 seconds ago, he wanted her to pay very close attention to every part of this case. And now he wants her to wait in the car? Like, whatever. Anyway, he's like, it's a delicate situation. And Skye's like, oh, but you're going to bring Warm and Fuzzy over there?
I loved it. Okay, he says that he's bringing May and Ward. Which one do you think is Warm and which one do you think is Fuzzy?
Well, Warm rhymes with Ward.
Okay.
That's what I would go with.
Okay, got it.
Am I wrong?
I don't know. There's no right answer. I was just asking.
I didn't know if that was going to become a thing later.
No.
They're new code names. Anyway, so Coulson stops himself from laughing, and then Ward walks in, and May's like, you're late. I've had enough of their sex banter. This is too much. So then Coulson, Ward, and May, and Skye all drive up to a house where a mob of suburbanites is amassing and yelling about how Hannah blew up the gas station. Coulson, Ward, and May cut through the crowd and head up to the house, asking the police to disperse the crowd. The cop says, we tried, but it's a free country. Like, okay, tell that to every Black Lives Matter protest, but whatever.
Yeah. So this scene has the first appearance of Agent Davis.
Is he a cop?
No, he is a SHIELD agent, and he becomes a regular in later seasons. So he's gonna be back. Okay. You didn't notice him because he was not important in this episode, so I included it.
So he didn't exist. Okay. Well, thank you for letting us know.
You
I will be on the
are so welcome. Please look out for Agent Davis coming soon to a screen near you.
So Coulson introduces himself to Hannah, saying that he specializes in cases like hers. She asks if he's there to lock her up, and Ward assures her that they're just there to talk. She expresses her hopelessness as an egg gets thrown at her door, and another neighbor threatens her, saying, we don't want you here anymore. Like, hello, police! Like, why are you even there if you're not gonna do anything? But if you defund the cops, then who's gonna protect you in an emergency?
Listen, it's only...
They don't do anything now!
It's only an emergency when you're throwing water bottles at them.
Obviously.
If you throw an egg at someone else, it's fine. They can't do anything. Their hands are tied.
Anyway, could go into that forever. So Hannah is feeling the tension, and now one of the cop cars is driving itself directly towards the mob. Coulson tackles the man who threw the egg, saving his life, but I'm really glad that he tackled him because that guy deserved to be tackled. And then one woman starts at Hannah like, she just tried to kill us all. And Skye just like shows up and grabs her arm and is like, will you calm down? Will you stop it? Which I know it was supposed to just be like a quick moment, but it was so funny to me.
I know. It stood out to me too for some reason because like it really is like the thing about this scenario is that it's like not even unbelievable.
Right.
Like a small town like that, and then, you know, an accident happens and they all turn on this one woman. And I don't think that it would necessarily get that dramatic where there's like a literal mob outside her house throwing eggs at her. But like this sort of thing absolutely does happen, and it is bizarre to witness. And all you can really say is like, whoa, calm down. Because like,
whoa, man.
Yes, I know that you're grieving. I know that this is hard to accept, and I know that you need to blame someone, but Jesus Christ, calm down.
Right. Can we still be people, though?
Yeah.
Whew. Anyway, so the cop on the porch immediately aims his gun at Hannah. Typical. Ward tries to get the cop to lower his weapon, and Hannah is freaking the fuck out, so Coulson is trying to calm her down before anything else happens, and then Hannah just drops to the ground because May shot her with the night-night gun and is like, it's time to go. You know, in your soul, when it's time to go. Swift reference coming in hot. Okay.
I wonder if all the townspeople think that she's dead now, though. Like, maybe. I'm sure that the agents didn't stop to explain. No, it was just a tranquilizer.
No, she's fine. We shot her, but she's okay.
It's just a tranquilizer.
It's just the night-night gun.
Everyone's going home telling their, like, grandchildren and great-nephews, yeah, that bitch is dead. The FBI, they showed up and they shot her. She's gone. We don't have to deal with her no more.
Oh my god. Wait, headcanon. So So, at the particle accelerator site, Fitz's drone camera flies back over to them as Simmons says, "We don't believe people have telekinetic powers, do we? Like, I'm sorry, you've met people with super strength, literal aliens, and someone who could shoot fire out of their hands just in the past couple of months. But telekinesis was where we draw the line?" Gemma,
I love that this conversation insinuates that for other superpowers within this universe, there is like an actual scientific explanation for why those things happen. Mm-hmm. And I want to read those papers. I know it won't make sense in our world, but I would like to see the research papers. Thank you.
Would it make sense to you, even if it did make sense in our world? It would make sense to me.
I would make it make sense, you know? Just in my noggin.
Okay, well, as long as it makes sense to
If there's one thing I know about the human brain, it's that we can make anything make sense.
Yep.
Unfortunately, sometimes.
True. So Fitz reminds her that although they don't have proof of it yet, they did believe in telekinesis for a bit in their freshman year when Sally Weber made the books fall off the table in neurobiology. And Simmons says, "That was a particularly cruel prank." And Fitz is like, "You screamed like a girl." And Simmons like, "I am a girl."
It seems like Simmons has something against telekinesis. Like, she's like a little bit afraid of it.
Yeah.
Because this is not the first time that she's like brought it up.
Maybe she has it.
And then we hear that she has this like underlying trauma.
We do?
The prank.
Oh, yeah. Right. I was like, what? Anyway, so Fitz is lamenting graduating 3 years early because they never got to pull pranks on any freshmen, when Simmons remembers that Skye never went to the academy, so technically she's a wide-eyed little freshman, and I can't wait to see what pranks they pull. But also, didn't we say that Simmons has like 3 PhDs? She graduated 3 years early? Like, is the academy like regular college? Did she get 3 PhDs in 1 year? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It does make sense as to like why they look so young though, with 3 PhDs. Yeah. And
it does.
You know that they're. One of them is a literal rocket scientist.
Also, side note, Fitz looks so goddamn good in this scene. Hot, hot, hot.
It's so the thing about Fitz. I was thinking about this earlier this week. I was just thinking about the show and Ian DeCasticker, who plays Fitz. Mm-hmm. And I was like, would I call him like a celebrity crush? I was like, no, actually, I don't know anything about him. Like, literally nothing. I have not the slightest clue of what he's like in real life, but I do think he is very cute, and I do love Fitz. So I have a crush on Fitz. Ian, yes. I am sure that you are very nice, but I don't know anything about you. I don't know you enough to love you. The point of that being, in later seasons, he goes from like this cute little like sweet baby face, like curly hair, and he gets like chiseled jaw and like a little like scruff. So good. Ooh. So good.
I can't wait.
It's really good. But I was just amazed at how easily Fitzsimmons jumped between like being the emotional core of episodes in like the past few to being the comedic relief and then back again.
Yeah.
The range.
Yes, absolutely. They're incredible. Yes. Okay.
This is a great episode.
It's so good.
We're doing great.
Anyway, back in the plane, Coulson has put Hannah in the holding cell or whatever with only a mattress, hoping that this will minimize the number of things that she can make move. Coulson explains to Ward and May that the dendrotoxin or whatever will be wearing off soon, and he wants May to be the one in there when Hannah wakes up to explain the situation and assuage her fears and all that. Ward asks, what if explaining the situation makes her more agitated? In which case, we definitely want May in the room. And I feel like Ward was partially asking because he wanted to be the one in the room if things go bad, but we all know how bad Ward is at throwing a punch, so clearly May is the best choice. Also, I feel like there's some other reason May is the one to talk to Hannah, but I don't know what it is yet. Like, is she telekinetic too or something? I don't know. So Coulson and May go in to talk to Hannah, and they offer her a bottle of water, and he introduces himself and May by their first names. It's so cute. Aww. He's like, I'm Phil, this is Melinda, we're married. Hannah is relieved that no one was hurt at the house, and she tells May that she wasn't angry at any of her neighbors. She knows that they were angry at her, and she understood why. She can hardly even think about the look that she got from the wife of Frank Delacour, one of her employees who was killed, and she fully blames herself for the explosion. Over in the lab, Skye is watching the questioning on the monitor, while Fitzsimmons are watching Hannah's brainwaves, and they determine that everything looks normal so far. She's obviously upset, but nothing weird is happening. They start talking about May being the one who sedated Hannah, when Fitz refers to May as the cavalry. And I don't know how I feel about the Ward-Fitz friendship anymore if Ward is going to be a bad influence like this. They can chill out on that. Skye asks where the name came from, and Fitzsimmons seems shocked that she doesn't know and that Ward didn't tell her. But then they remember that Skye didn't spend any time at the academy, so there's a prank coming. Fitz tells her the story, or at least a story. Imagine, if you will, a heavily secured compound. Manama, Bahrain. Multiple SHIELD agents are taken hostage, tortured for information. Simmons is trying so hard to have a serious face at this point. May's mission? Eliminate the threat, killing not just a few people, but entire squads of mercenaries. Almost 100. Well, more than 100. Heavily armed men, apparently. Her vehicle got totaled, so she rode in, and she had a M249 in each hand, which are guns, I guess, and she rode in on a horse, hence the name, the cavalry. She eliminated the enemy threat single-handedly. Skye is a little bit skeptical, and Simmons walks away trying not to laugh. Fitz continues, saying that May saw a lot of hurt that day. So Skye is starting to believe it, and she's like, is that why May is so May? Yes. So Fitzsimmons goes back to examining the particle accelerator data on the hologram.
The holo table.
Fitz takes a piece of the virtual accelerator and hands it to Simmons, and Skye is looking at a piece herself when Fitz slaps her hand away. No, you do not touch that. You need 2 semesters of holographic engineering before you get to touch this. She and Fitz are like siblings now, and I love it. So Skye goes up to do some more research on her own boring old flat computer. As she leaves, Fitzsimmons high-five and congratulate each other on their May story, and agree to continue pranking Skye, as is the Academy tradition. I'd also like to point out that my high school's nickname was the Academy, and I've also worked at a place that calls themselves the Academy, and so I always think it's funny when like the term the Academy is supposed to be like this incredibly prestigious place, when in my experience it's just like a normal school. So back in Hannah's room, she is explaining that she was getting reports for like 2 weeks about a part needing repairs on the accelerator. She had the lead technician Tobias replace the part and triple check it for damage, and then she went to the site very regularly and she never found any problems, so she assumes that she must have missed something. Coulson tells her that S.H.I.E.L.D. is checking into what actually happened to the accelerator and what happened to Hannah to cause her to acquire this telekinetic ability. Hannah is confused by this and a little insulted that they think she caused the police car and the gas station incidents. Hannah acknowledges that she is the common denominator between these situations, but she swears it's not her, because if it was, then she could make it stop. And so May says if it's not Hannah, then what is it? We don't know. Hannah believes that demons have gotten a hold of her and that God doesn't protect her from them anymore. And like, what show am I watching?
Listen, I really feel for her, though, because I can understand why she came to that conclusion. Yeah. Like, she's overcome by guilt. She's convinced that she did a horrible thing, and she believes she deserves the punishment. And like a small, rural, religious oil field / factory town, I have experience with those.
Right.
Growing up that way affects you in a way that is hard to explain. And it's not necessarily inherently positive or negative, but it has the potential to get bad.
Yeah, absolutely. So the team all agree that Hannah believes in her own supernatural persecution out of guilt, because she truly does believe that she herself is at fault for her friends and her co-workers' deaths. Coulson reiterates that they need to pore over the site of the blast to determine once and for all whether Hannah caused it or not. And then behind Coulson, a blurry man is eavesdropping and then dissipates into mist before anybody sees him. Somebody call the Winchesters.
Somebody call Ghost Whisperer.
Ghostfacers! So Sky goes to mom and dad to beg them to let her talk to Hannah. From her research, Hannah seems like a kind and empathetic person who is devastated by this much death, much less the possibility that she's the cause of it. May doesn't like the idea, and they have a very tense exchange regarding May justifying a shoot-first policy. But as May is forbidding Sky from going in there until they have more information on Hannah's power, one of Coulson's collector items falls to the ground by itself, even though it was glued down. But Coulson just picks it up and doesn't think anything of it, of course.
Just some really intense turbulence that we didn't feel, but somehow the thing that was glued down did.
Yeah, obviously. But he does commend Sky for asking the right questions. He won't give her the go-ahead to do more than ask questions right now, though. So Sky goes to Ward in the kitchen to vent about May, and Ward has May's back, which, I mean, good for him as, like, a team member, but also I wonder why. So Sky speculates that May just needs to get laid. Oh my god! And Ward freezes.
Man, for a spy, he sure doesn't know how to control his reactions and body language.
At all.
Like, this is becoming a theme. I think Ward is just a really fucking bad spy. Like, he's really bad at his job.
So bad at it. But fortunately for him, Sky doesn't notice. She just keeps on going, saying she's not scared of May, even if she did kill 100 guys on horseback. And Ward's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Sky says that's what Fitzsimmons told her. So Ward sets her straight. It wasn't 100 guys, it was 20. Trained assassins. May crossed them off with one pistol, no support, to rescue a bunch of agents. And there definitely wasn't a horse. Sky says if everything went so well, then why doesn't May like the nickname? And Ward says, well, May doesn't like the glory. She does her job and that's it. Which, if he knows that that's the case, then why does he keep calling her that?
See, but I think he doesn't even know that's the case. I think that's just what he assumed. Like,
even so.
We can't be sure because there is no indication in the text of whether or not May has explicitly told him that, or if there has been any indication of that. But it seems to me like he has just decided for himself that she's being modest. So her protests against, like, using that nickname for her are just like, well, it doesn't matter. She's just being modest. It's fine.
What a dick.
Just doesn't even bother to ask.
Ugh. Anyway, so then Ward turns back around and he continues making dinner, but the knife he was just using has disappeared. It's the demon!
It's ADHD!
Yes!
You have no idea how many times that happens to me.
It's the ADHD demon.
But no, seriously, that happens to me so much, and usually it's in the sink. Yeah. So maybe Ward should just check the sink.
Maybe. So in the holding cell, Hannah is freaking out while someone or something is rattling the doorknob, and the thudding continues on the walls, the ceiling, the door, and Hannah's begging for God's forgiveness. Like, don't they have cameras in there on her at all times? Like, why is nobody monitoring this footage?
Can we talk about this actress, though? Because, like, God.
She was excellent.
I remember even when I first watched this, it amazed me just how well and, like, intensely she was emoting. Like, she genuinely looked horrified. Yeah. Like, horrified, devastated, like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Like, she plays those emotions very well and very believably.
Yeah, she was excellent.
She almost had me crying. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine this happening to me.
Yeah. So then we jump over to Simmons looking through the reports on the explosion, and she determines that the technicians were right. And she's unfazed when Fitz shows up behind her in a gas mask. And he is so sad. You weren't even a wee bit scared. More disappointed, really. He's like, it's fine. I was just workshopping more pranks. But I was listening. Thank you very much. Simmons asked him to go get more sedative for Hannah because I guess someone was watching her video feed, but not very well, apparently. She also tells him that the prank needs more work. I know! I'm trying different things! It's the timing that matters! Sky is in her bunk doing research on the dead technician Tobias Ford, who I swear was in a Supernatural episode 2.
I looked it up to check, and he was not. But he was in, just to name a few, CSI, NCIS, Cold Case, Grey's Anatomy, Law and Order Los Angeles, CSI New York, Mad Men, True Blood, Bones, Scandal, Grace and Frankie, Modern Family, and Riverdale.
Wow. He's been in everything.
Yeah.
He looks so familiar.
I do actually remember the Riverdale arc that he was in, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Not because of him, but just because of Riverdale.
Oh.
I'm sure he was very good.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Riverdale, however, is not.
So Tobias apparently filed 3 safety complaints to Hannah's department in the last month before he died. Ward says she thought he was her friend, but he clearly had it out for her. And I am not understanding how that would correlate, but...
I think that's just Ward's brain being the way it is. He automatically assumes the worst.
But Skye says that Tobias was right, actually. So Fitz is down in the storage room with his gas mask, looking for couplings when he finds an excellent addition to his prank, a mop. All he needs now is a bit of twine and an unsuspecting victim. But the shadow guy, who is looking quite like the outline of Tobias, is right behind him! As Fitz turns around, Tobias disappears again. Back in the lab, Simmons is looking over the holographic explosion again, and she notices that the explosion opened a window to some other place. And then Tobias shows up and he says, "To hell!" And then he smashes the holo table. "Get the fuck away from Simmons!" She screams and shuffles away from him, and then he disappears again. And then Coulson rushes in. Hannah was never telekinetic. She was being followed by Tobias. Tobias appears again in the main power closet, and he pulls all the wires out of the wall, causing a blackout in the whole plane, and the plane starts going down. So May rushes to the cockpit with Ward and Skye. May starts giving out orders, including for Skye to buckle the fuck up, and they look for a place to land. Coulson and Simmons rush to the emergency seats and strap themselves in, and oh my god, where is Fitz? They touch down on the ground in a very rough landing, but May gets it done. Coulson passes out some lower tech walkie-talkies and tells the rest of the team that Hannah was not to blame. Simmons tells them about her encounter with the ghost of Tobias. Even she believes that he's a ghost. Skye asks once again if she can be the one to talk to Hannah, this time to tell her the good news that she's not to blame, but also that there is a non-corporeal madman hunting her, and S.H.I.E.L.D.'s holding cell may be the only thing protecting her at the moment. Coulson allows it, but my question is, will Tobias just be, waiting by the door to slip in whenever anyone opens it? So Coulson goes to Radio HQ, and Ward is going to arm himself and escort Fitzsimmons downstairs to assess the damage to the plane so they can get back in the sky. And finally, Simmons asks, where the fuck is Fitz? Fitz is still in the fucking closet when the door is locked. Let that baby out! He has no idea what's going on, if the plane crashed, why people were screaming, and his first instinct is that Simmons is pulling a prank on him. He starts to throw himself into the door when he sees that something has been lodged under it to keep him in there. So he forces the door the rest of the way open and sees that it was the knife that Ward was using to make dinner. What the fuck?
I didn't remember that the knife had disappeared, and so I was a little confused as to why it was a knife of all things. It seemed completely arbitrary to me.
Yeah. Well, even so, a knife?
A knife.
Well, that's not a knife. So Fitz brandishes the knife as he slowly makes his way down a dark hallway when he runs into Ward and Simmons coming in hot around a corner. And he accuses them of pranking him. They fill him in on what was going on as May gives them their orders over the walkie. Coulson attempts to call for help on his secret 1990s backup radio behind a painting in his office. But Tobias knocks out the satellite dish or whatever on the top of the plane, leaving them stranded with no means of contact.
So the call sign for the bus is SHIELD 616. 616 is the allocated number for the mainstream Marvel universe named Earth 616 in the Marvel Comics continuity. So very timely fun fact considering the multiverse stuff going on in the MCU right now.
Yeah.
So the MCU exists on 616.
Interesting. Okay.
That's the timeline of it.
So there are at least 600 other Earths before us? Or are they at the same time?
Well, see, you'll just have to watch Loki for an explanation on the multiverse.
Okay.
Although there is an argument that the explanation of the multiverse in Loki is propaganda. So there's that.
Propaganda?
Propaganda from the TVA.
Okay.
The Time Variance Authority.
I don't know
it's all in the show.
Oh. Okay. You're just throwing words at me. I don't know what they are.
That's the whole MCU.
You throwing peas at me.
Wait, I actually have thought. I don't know if anyone would want this, and I know for a fact that I would not ever have time to edit it. But I was thinking, like, if we were ever to start doing, like, little bonus episodes or something, we should watch all of the MCU movies and, like, the little one-shots that Coulson is featured in.
We could do that after we finish the series.
After we finish the 7 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be what's next. That'll be how we keep it going.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sky goes to Hannah's room and talks to her from outside the door, which I guess is how we keep Tobias from getting in. So good. Smart. Hannah guesses that the plane crashed and apologizes if anyone got hurt. Sky assures her that none of this was Hannah's fault. They get into a conversation about spirituality, and Hannah reiterates that she believes God is punishing her and that she deserves it. Sky says no one deserves that. She doesn't believe in that kind of God because she grew up around nuns who got off on scaring kids with stories about God's wrath. The only thing Sky took to heart was when a sister McKenna told her the Bible verse that says God is love, and that's the thing that holds us together. She goes on to say that if God is love, then he wouldn't punish someone for just making a mistake. He would forgive that. And Hannah just can't bring herself to believe it.
I like that this episode tries to deliver a nuanced take on religion.
Yeah.
And whether it succeeds at that or not probably just depends on your personal experience. I think I remember my dad wasn't quite a fan. I never dug into why, but he was a very religious man. And so, you know, he probably had his reasons.
Yeah.
But I remember it really resonating with me when I first watched it, and it still really resonates today.
Yeah, absolutely. So May was listening around the corner, and so she comes up and she orders Sky to go help Coulson with his radio problems. And like, okay, I get that it's a tense situation all around, but if she was listening, obviously, they were in the middle of a pretty important conversation, and Coulson gave Sky permission to do this very thing in the first place. So May is kind of pissing me off right now, and also I can see on her face that something else is going on, and I hate that they're making me upset with May right now. She's my favorite, and I want them to stop it.
Feel those complicated feelings. Nothing is black and white. Feel them!
So then Ward is still escorting Fitzsimmons to their post to try and fix the power, and Simmons is telling Fitz about the portal she saw at the explosion site. Tobias thinks that it's hell, but Simmons thinks it may be an alien world. And apparently this isn't the first time an explosion has caused a window to another world like this. So maybe that's exactly what the technicians at the lab were trying to do, create another portal. So Ghost Tobias is actually just trapped between worlds, and maybe that's what all ghosts are. And this is also really... Never mind, I'm not going to bring Supernatural up again. They get to the power room and finally see the damage that Tobias caused to the wiring. He was pretty thorough. And then clang! Everybody jumps. And Ward says the plane's uneven. It could just be settling. And Fitz is like, yeah, or the other thing. Ward goes to check things out while Fitzsimmons gets to work. Ward calls the all clear, but then Tobias is right behind Fitzsimmons! And he locks them into yet another closet. So Ward runs back to save the day, but he can't even weak punch this guy because he disappears through the wall. So Fitzsimmons are calling for Ward to help them through the door, but Ward hears another clanging down the hallway. So he just like whispers for them to be quiet and follows the noise. Like, Ward, how are they supposed to hear you?
Also, like, why are you chasing after the threat? You were sent down to protect Fitzsimmons.
Right, and they're calling
and you
for
are
you.
not doing that. You are actively walking away from them multiple times. Like, that is you are not doing your job well. You are not good at your job, Ward.
God damn it, Ward.
You always have to be the hero. So much so that you're not doing your fucking job.
He has to be the hero, so he's not being the hero.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, so then Tobias reappears and he throws Ward into the wall. Ward gets one singular punch in, a throat punch to be short, but it was more of a throat caress, really. And Tobias grabs Ward by his throat, and Ward is about to body slam him, but then Tobias disappears again, and he reappears in the closet with his giant wrench around Simmons' throat, and this is not a metaphor, and I am seething. Also, I accidentally paused at, if y'all want to look at this, I paused at 28 minutes and 37 seconds on the best frame I've ever seen.
You texted that to me. That's what I woke up to this morning.
You're welcome. But so Simmons screams and Ward comes running. As he opens the door, gun drawn, Tobias appears behind him and knocks Ward out with the same wrench. Then Tobias looks at his staticky hand and he screams. Like, okay, interesting.
I mean, I'd be freaked out if that was happening to me, I think, probably.
There was just so much going on.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah. So then he slams the door and he locked Fitzsimmons in the closet once again. At least they can play 7 Minutes in Heaven now. So then Sky is helping Coulson figure out his radio, and she is bitching about May again. She says she doesn't understand why May is the one staying with Hannah when Hannah is clearly scared of her. And Sky calls May the cavalry, which Coulson immediately shuts down. Finally. Someone does.
Respectful king.
Yes. He sets the story straight. It wasn't a rescue or an assault. Coulson and May were the welcome wagon on a mission, and things turned bad. But they were completely unarmed. A civilian girl and a handful of SHIELD agents were being held captive by the followers/worshippers of a certain powered person. May said that she could fix the problem, so she went into enemy territory alone to rescue the hostages, and she got everyone out, but she came back a different person. She used to be a lot like Sky before, playing pranks, believing rules were meant to be broken, but she never told anyone what happened in there, and she seemed to have lost a part of herself that day. Sky guesses that the reason Coulson wanted May on the plane is to see if they could help her find herself again.
So some explanation is given as to why the cavalry is the general nickname for May. Mm-hmm. But Marissa Tancharoen, who co-wrote this episode, noted that the full details were actually not revealed. They just used the other characters' attempts to explain the origin and why she's a legend. Yeah. Because in real life, generally, this is like how those kinds of stories get told. Other people tell your story and it's always changing. And no version of it is ever the full truth.
Yeah, that's a really smart way to do it.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's really good.
I really like it because they gave the backstory, but there is still more to be like uncovered.
Right.
There's more to why May is the way that she is. There's more to that trauma.
So it's like, you know something happened, but you're not any closer to figuring out what exactly it was.
Yeah.
Genius.
I'm very excited for you to finally find out what it is.
Is it soon?
Not really.
It's fine. Don't answer it. So Sky and Coulson are interrupted by the door to Coulson's office slamming shut and jamming itself. And then what little light they had goes out again. Tobias shows up and he takes Sky the same way he did Simmons, and he orders Coulson to either let him into Hannah's room or let Hannah out. Fitzsimmons tells May over the walkies that Tobias disappears, and it seems that he's switching back to the other world, but his form seems to become less and less stable each time he reappears. They think if they can wait him out, he may not be able to switch between worlds indefinitely. As the lights flicker around May, we see Tobias appear in the distance, and then right behind her. And as he's about to knock her out with the wrench, she disappears!
She's so good.
Tobias runs, and Hannah's cell door is finally open, but she's not there. May is leading her outside the plane, and Hannah asks what she's gonna do, and May famously says, "Fix the problem." Oh my god, she's incredible. She's so fast. How did she do that?
She's a good spy.
Yes.
She's good at her job.
Excellent. So back in Coulson's office, Coulson states the obvious, we gotta get out of here, while Sky is actually formulating a plan based on the assumption that all of Coulson's collector gadgets still work. In the closet, Ward is beginning to wake up. Simmons is filling him in, and Ward is flabbergasted that he was knocked out with a plumber's wrench. They all speculate that he must have been holding the wrench during the blast that knocked him betwixt worlds. But that would have been an odd tool to be loosening a coupling. So they say. Who do they think their demographic is? Because, like, do they think that we would have any idea what a plumber's wrench or a coupling is? Or that they don't work together?
So I think this is where they figure out that Tobias was the one loosening the thingy that Hannah had to keep checking on and repairing.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think part of the problem with us being not a certain demographic and not understanding some things is that I think we, like, miss a lot of context. I mean, I have. I know that you have. So I think what they said in that scene was like, oh, it was weird that he was holding a plumber's wrench when he died or when the explosion happened, because like his job had nothing to do with the plumber's wrench. Like, why would he be holding a wrench? But then I think it's Fitz goes, it wouldn't be to loosen a coupling, would it?
Yeah.
So at least that was my interpretation of it.
Well, so I mean, they at least said that, so I'm like, okay, I get it from context clues, but also, what? Anyway, so Sky finds a tiny little watch that looks exactly like the watches that my mom used to always wear in like the 90s and the early aughts. So Sky gets that tiny little watch's walkie-talkie feature to work. So Coulson is able to talk to Ward again. They fill each other in and realize that May is not with either party. May brings Hannah to a barn, and another supernatural reference came to my brain, but I won't say it. And she apologizes, but she needed to use Hannah as bait to draw Tobias out away from May's people. And May says that she's going to do whatever she has to do. Fitz walks Sky and Coulson through turning Coulson's collector walkie-talkie watch into a small bomb to blow open the jammed office door. And Coulson laments that only 20 of these were ever made. Fucking nerd.
Listen, I feel him.
He's just a sentimental baby. It's fine. And it works. And so Sky and Coulson release Ward and Fitzsimmons, and they all make their way through the plane together and fill each other in on who the ghost is. Simmons brings up that it makes no sense for him to complain about safety issues while also causing them, and she starts to bring up another theory when Ward interrupts her and says, "Theories don't matter, only facts matter, and the fact is that a bullet will take you out of whatever world you're in." Okay, Mr. Facts don't care about your feelings. How are you going to shoot a guy who can literally just disappear whenever he feels like it?
Also, like, aren't you literally on this mission to figure out what is happening?
Yeah.
And now suddenly figuring out what is happening is not important. Do your fucking job, Ward. Do your fucking job.
Oh, so they are trying to figure out where May would have taken Hannah when Simmons says we can use the golden retrievers. They have dogs on this plane? So she opens the closet door to get them, and Fitz's mop prank falls out, and everyone screams, including Fitz. I was dying.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to, what's the username?
Oh, Fitz is always screaming or something.
Yeah, Fitz screams every day. Hi.
Yes! Love them.
They're always like tweeting at us and liking our tweets, and it's such a good account. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. You
Fitz
tweet
screams.
out. You tweet out the screams, and we love that for you. We love that for us.
I've only looked at like the first few tweets because I don't want to spoil anything for myself.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
I love the whole concept of your Twitter. So Fitz screams, and Simmons is like, "This is not the time for childish nonsense." And Fitz just calmly states, "Pranking was your idea, and I obviously rigged this little beauty before I knew there was a dimension-jumping psychopath in the mix." Wait, childish? Oh, wait, no, Sky said that, sorry. And so Sky says that Tobias is childish. And I'm not sure where she's getting that or where she's going with it, but, okay.
It is a leap,
Yeah.
but, I'll take it,
Right.
because
We get it later.
Plot.
We get it later.
Yeah.
But I don't know where she got that from.
it turns out that she's right, but it is quite a leap. I'm not sure that I would have come to that
Yeah,
conclusion.
me neither. So, in the barn, Tobias shows up where Hannah is waiting for him. She is shocked that it's him. And then May tackles him sideways. And finally, a good fight. I'm so tired of Ward's fighting. And look at this technique! It was incredible!
Ming-Na Wen
Yes!
is a trained fighter. She does her own stunts.
I literally just found out while I was watching this that she voiced Mulan, and I can't believe I didn't know.
You didn't know
Yeah.
that? Oh my god. Maybe I only think it's common knowledge because I'm such a huge fan of the show, but I knew that. I knew Ming-Na Wen before it was cool.
I literally just saw it, completely unrelated on Twitter. It just, showed up.
Yeah, she's a fucking badass and a Disney princess.
Yes! Anyway, so that was a good moment. So then Sky's theory that Tobias is actually in love with Hannah and has been showing it in childish ways. He hasn't been trying to hurt Hannah, he's been trying to protect her. And Coulson finally leads the rest of the team outside the plane and onto the luscious grass I've ever seen. I want to take a nap in it. Fitz puts some device on the ground and several glowing golden snitches fly into the air. And like, are we gonna get sued if I keep making references to you-know-who?
I don't think so, but also I'm pretty sure the only reason Fitzsimmons named them golden retrievers was because Marvel would have gotten sued if they'd named them golden snitches. Which, hello, have you met Fitzsimmons? That's exactly what they named
Yes, absolutely. Didn't they mention Hogwarts in like one of the first episodes?
I think so. They definitely mention it in this episode. They say, Skye says, "I'm sorry I didn't go to your shield Hogwarts."
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm talking. Okay. Anyway, well, so Tobias is trying to lead Hannah out of the barn with him when May swipes his leg out from under him. He goes down hard and he doesn't move, so then May moves Hannah like 3 feet to the left and tells her to stay there. Like, that seems unsafe. And it is! Tobias plows May through a horse stall, and one of the rafters falls and is swinging straight towards Hannah. Tobias blips over and takes the blow for her and falls to the ground. This is when May realizes that Tobias doesn't want to hurt Hannah, so she tells Hannah to tell Tobias that May is not going to hurt Hannah. So Hannah tells Tobias that May is a friend, and he hesitates, so May tells him their theory about him being stuck between worlds. He says he knows because one of those worlds is hell and he's being dragged there for what he did. He confesses that it was his fault the explosion happened. He would loosen bolts to cause safety issues on the machine so that Hannah would have to come visit the site just because he wanted to see her. And like, yes, put all of your coworkers in mortal danger just because you don't have the guts to ask out your crush. Classic!
There's no world in which that would be a good idea or like even remotely cute.
No.
When you do eventually ask her out, if this explosion hadn't happened and you did like eventually ask her out, what's your plan then?
Right.
Is this going to be like a fun little anecdote that you tell?
Oh, I just casually put everyone in danger multiple times.
Yeah, I used to, you remember that time where I made you keep coming down because there was like a loose coupling? That was me.
That was me.
Funny, right?
She'd be like, you're an idiot. Bye.
I know it could have caused an explosion, but like, we ended up together, didn't we?
It all works out in the end. He never meant to hurt anyone, of course, but after the blast, he saw that people were blaming Hannah for what happened, so he tried to protect her from them, and he ended up hurting more people and giving them more to blame Hannah for. He tells her, maybe if you forgive me, I won't go to hell. And she gives the iconic, only God can forgive you. Get him, Hannah! That's what I'm fucking talking about! Yes! And then May adds, and he won't. Yes! Fuck him up!
That part always shocks me, like, when I hear it. I don't know why I'm never expecting it, but she just, like, straight, and he won't. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, oh my God, that's such a thing to say.
Incredible. Fuck him up, May. Oh my God. So then she continues, and I had to write down everything she said word for word. You can't undo what's been done. This will be with you forever. But trying to hold on to this life, clinging to a person you thought you could be, that's hell. And you're dragging her down with you. Agent May, tell him. So she tells him to fucking stop it and let the girl go before she makes him. So he finally lets go and he disappears into mist again.
To live out the rest of his days on this alien planet.
Yes, in hell. Thank you. Goodbye. So then Coulson and Skye show up right then, and Skye runs to check on Hannah while Coulson asks May what she said to Tobias. And May says that she told him the same words that Coulson told her in Bahrain. Which, oh no, does that mean that she couldn't save the civilian girl hostage? That's why she said, let the girl go. That's what I got from it.
I'm not saying shit.
Okay. I was hoping I would be wrong, but that's okay. So back on the plane, the power is turning back on, and Skye is tucking Hannah into her bunk. Ward comes up to check in as Skye is closing the door, and it's a very short exchange. And why do I miss their stupid little heart-to-hearts? Oh, I know I make fun of them, but I miss them. So then Skye sees Coulson grieving the loss of his little 90s mom watch. He says that Fitz can't fix it, and Skye turns the watch into a metaphor for May so they can go ahead and wrap up the Full House style end of episode lesson.
It is an ABC show.
It is. But it's not ABC Family.
No,
so.
it is not family friendly. So fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids.
Oh my god, my 14-year-old niece has recently told me that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is her favorite show. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. I have a podcast about it. You can never listen. Please
never
don't listen.
Oh my god.
I love you. And then she goes, what kind of words do you say? And I was like, well, I mean, you know, you can listen to it when you're like 18. She's like, I probably won't. I'm never gonna swear. I'm like, okay, sweetie,
Okay.
I love you.
You know what? Believe that as long as you want. So, the end of episode lesson is that May is not a lost cause. Duh. And if anyone can bring her around, it's Coulson. Sky says that Coulson knows what makes people tick. Stop it. A watch fun. And Coulson says that Sky does too. Sky was a friend to Hannah, and she was trying so hard to get into May's head, and she figured out Tobias without even trying, and Coulson wasn't surprised. This is why he wanted Sky to be paying attention on the index asset evaluation and intake process. He thinks she could be the best at it someday. And she says, thanks, AC. And my first thought was, AC Slater? How many 90s references can I fit in this show? But then I realized that she was abbreviating Agent Coulson, and Coulson says that maybe she can rename the process, and good God, I hope so. Index asset evaluation and intake process. That's too many syllables.
Is there even like a
acronym?
Yes, that.
No, it doesn't. It would be
IEP.
The EEP. Anyway. So then Sky goes to the cockpit to ask if she can keep May company. And like finally somebody actually asks. People are always just barging into May's cockpit and annoying her, and it's about time someone respects her May time. May says nothing though. So Sky just sits down quietly and watches as they take off. And May's face softens just slightly as she watches Sky. So cute.
Aww.
So now it's time for the post-content content. Simmons, Ward, Coulson, and Sky are playing Scrabble. Simmons puts down the word aglet, and Ward is a party pooper, as always, and says, that's not a word in the English language. I've never heard of it. Like, bro, have you never seen Sweet Life of Zack and Cody? That's where I learned that word, but okay. And then everyone is mad at her for using a word that they've never heard of, even though it is a word, and Sky looked it up to verify for them, but...
So, I told you I've been, like, super tired this week, super low energy, just, like, all life force zapped out of me. So, I was watching this episode, and I paid attention. I was, you know, if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to, at least I was paying close attention to the episode. But I literally only took one note this whole episode, and it was, Ward doesn't know what a fucking aglet is? The only note, the only thing of importance that I needed to say.
Truly, it's beautiful. It's the only thing important. And for anyone who doesn't know what an aglet is,
it's a little plastic thing on the tip of your shoelace.
Yes,
Everybody knows
this.
That. Jesus.
If you've watched Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, if you've watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., then you know.
I don't even remember, like, what, I think I got it from, like, a Laffy Taffy wrapper or something.
I can't remember my bank account number, but I sure can remember what an aglet is. So then Fitz walks in, and they all burst into laughter because he has shaving cream on his hand and his face. And he says, it's not funny! I was sleeping peacefully. Fitz is trying to figure out who's to blame, but everyone swears it wasn't them. May is listening from the cockpit with the smallest, slyest smile on her face. She's back, baby! And that's it. The end. Goodbye.
That's it. Oh, so good. I really did like this episode. Part of why I just didn't take notes was because I was really just sucked in to the story.
Yeah, it was good.
And also, again, I'm really fucking tired. So, what are your overall thoughts on this episode?
Okay. I have 3. So number 1, okay. I love a May episode. I want a million more. I want to know every single second of Melinda May's life from the second she was born until now, and I want to know every thought in her head. Second, can we be done with Ward and May now? Like, I'm done with that. I don't want that to keep going. And third, I love that May is pranking. And I like the idea that having Sky's energy on board the plane is helping her heal a little bit. But I also love the idea that May has been, like, pranking everyone this whole time, but everyone assumed that someone else did it.
They'd never suspect her.
Never. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts were that it was a good episode.
Yes.
I said that all I had. Again, I only took one note, and it was in disbelief that Ward doesn't know what a fucking aglet is. But yeah, so I liked it. It was a good experience, and I like, the nuanced take that they try to have on religion. Although, again, it being set in Utah makes a lot more sense.
Yes,
it adds a lot of context,
Yep.
and that's all I'll say about that. So this concludes our episode on Season 1, Episode 9, Repairs. If you want to keep up with us, you can follow us on TikTok at Agents of Nothing Podcast, on Twitter at Agent Nothing Pod. You can also go to anchor.fm/Agents of Nothing and send us a voice message with your thoughts. You can also donate to us on Anchor, and we would appreciate that very much. A lot of time and effort goes into this podcast, even though I just said that I didn't take any notes, but I still gathered the fun facts.
Yes.
So there. You can also email us at agentsofnothingpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Yes, please.
Hear your thoughts, hear your opinions.
Yes.
Our personals, me, Mariah, you can find me on Twitter at FullSwampWitch_, on TikTok at Submarine Warfare, and on Instagram at Submarine Warfare.
And you can find me, Caroline, on Twitter at RustyPage95, on Instagram at _RustyPage, and on TikTok at CrazyGinger995.
Oh, and also shout out to anyone who may be listening to our podcast from the Recovering Gleek Patreon.
Yeah.
Because y'all are so nice, and I love you. Goodbye.
Welcome.
Okay. Next week we'll be covering Season 1, Episode 10, The Bridge. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Love you.